trap! You're gonna think I turned brunette. Lizard tongue, this towel. Welcome back, party people. I'm Ashley and time for a breather, and in today's video, I am continuing my journey of converting all of my cosmetics to vegan and cruelty-free. This is the second video in the series. If you missed the first, go back a few videos to the She Glam one. There is a mix of brands here, and again, everything is vegan, cruelty-free, and affordable, so let's see how they do. All right, if you saw my previous video, you know in that video, I tried the She Glam Complexion Pro Long Lasting Breathable Matte Foundation, and I actually found out that this is not a matte foundation at all. I don't know what they are talking about. It does not set from the time you put it on until forever, so I did not like this because I do normally use the matte Wet n Wild foundation, which by the way is also vegan and cruelty-free. I just wanted to test out a new one, but I have a theory because I went ahead and bought the She Glam Skinfinite Hydrating Foundation because I'm like, how much more hydrating slash oily can a foundation be than this one? So I wanted to just test out their hydrating one because I'm like, I'm trying to give She Glam the benefit of the doubt that maybe there was like a mix up in manufacturing or something where this one, this formula, the hydrating formula, got put into the matte bottle by mistake, because I just can't see how a brand put out this foundation and call it matte. It just like blows my mind. So I got here the porcelain shade. My gosh, and again guys, this comes in its own little sheath, this like flesh colored sheath. That's funny. This is also the porcelain, the matte one I got. Do these not look a bit different in color? This one actually looks a little bit more orange than this one, which is a little bit concerning because this one oxidized on me very badly last time, and it oxidized to be more orange and more dark. So this is already starting out a little bit worse than that one. So that's not great. But I'm gonna go ahead and apply this and see if it is not only the same amount of coverage as the matte one, because maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's just more of a thick consistency and it covers a lot more. Luckily, it does have a pump. I do love me a pump here. What did I do? I did 2 last time. Let's do 2 pumps on the beauty blender here. And by the way, if you see me looking down, like I have my mirror here, but let's go ahead and see where we get. Now, I do not use primers. I don't really need them that much. I honestly don't see the use for them for most people. I just like having a good base and, you know, spending my money on skincare and doing that. And luckily I have like decent skin. I do have a little bit of a breakout going here. Ooh, okay, first off, this has less coverage than the matte one for sure. It even has like more of a watery texture in general. Now I do get that hydrating foundations aren't usually supposed to be super high coverage. Normally they're light to medium. So I'm not gonna really knock it on that, even though I am honestly a full coverage matte foundation girly. I do not like shine at all, but I am trying to like get into maybe like a little bit of no makeup. And I'm honestly hoping that maybe I can use this to do kind of like a, put it on my hands and rub in, almost more like a BB cream type situation. Just for days when I'm like, you know, just kind of like running out of the house, or I do have like a pretty big breakout where like concealer just ain't gonna cut it. Now, last time 2 pumps did do very well, but since this is a little bit of a lower coverage foundation, I'm gonna go in with another pump for my forehead and probably honestly another pump for my neck. What do they even say? Yeah, they don't even tell you on the bottle the coverage. Yeah, it doesn't say on the box either. Wait a minute. The possibilities of Skinfinite, our creamy medium coverage foundation. Okay, so it is supposed to be medium coverage and a natural skin look. For the medium coverage, I think that's a line of bowl. This is light to medium. This is not medium coverage. But as it's like set on my skin a little bit, I do think it's become more like skin-like, just like they're stating. So I think that's actually a pretty accurate description of this. And then let's just cover up my bald spot too. Gotta make that. I have 2 bald spots here, so just love me some psoriasis, you know what I mean? Also, the shade is actually a lot better than the shade of the matte one. It is almost out the bat a perfect match, but again, it is also lower coverage, so it's easier to cover up like shade differences with that because there's just not as much pigment going on. But we'll have to see if this actually oxidizes at all. I can confirm these are not the same formula. They are both still very kind of like oily, and honestly, the matte one was oilier than the hydrating one. The hydrating one almost feels more like watery because it's just such a lighter texture. This one does definitely have like medium to full coverage, and then this one is light to medium coverage. But I do love the way the hydrating one is sitting on my skin. It is making my skin look very, very pretty. Not only because it's evening out the color, because I do have like redness around my nose and of course in my, zit area. So it is like helping with that, but also just like the natural sheen of it is actually mimicking the sheen of like just putting on my skincare, like that really like super healthy glow that a lot of skincare will give you these days. So I do like that. I do think it is light enough coverage to where if you don't apply it super evenly with your fingers, you're not really gonna notice that much, but still it gives you a little bit of coverage just to cover up some of those problem areas. So I do actually like this foundation, and in fact, I like this foundation more than the other one, but we'll have to see if it oxidizes. Up next, guys, I have concealer here. Now this is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. This is their matte concealer, basically like their answer to the Tarte Shape Tape. Now I got the shade Fair Rose, which I do believe is their second to lightest shade, and it's more of like the pinkier tone one. Now you guys know I use here the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover. This is not vegan. It is cruelty free, but not vegan. It's also a little bit expensive. Even though this one isn't like the cheapest product out there, it's still like more inexpensive than this one. Now let's check out the shades on here. It looks like the e.l.f. one is about a half shade to a shade lighter than the CoverGirl one, but they do appear to be the same tone, which I'm a little bit more concerned with the tone of base products because the shade can be somewhat more easily corrected, especially being too light of a shade, by just applying like a little bit of a darker powder on top. So I'm not super concerned about that. Also, again, this one could oxidize, we don't know. I do, again, love me some matteness. Also, guys, if you are curious, I did not like the She Glam concealers from last time that much. So here, just if you're curious, here's the shade match of them. This is Linen and this is Buttercream from the She Glam matte concealer, whatever it's called. Actually, the Linen one does appear to be the same lightness, though the She Glam ones are both have such yellow undertone. This is actual yellow undertone, the Buttercream. And then the Linen one is almost like neutral leaning into yellow undertone, whereas the e.l.f. one is a true like pink undertone. So I have higher hopes for this. Now, one of my main problems with the CoverGirl one is that since it's a matte concealer, it sets so incredibly fast that you can only do one eye at a time, blend it out, and then move on to the other eye, which I despise. I want like a little bit more time to work with my concealer. So I'm just gonna try and do both here and see if it actually dries down as quickly as the CoverGirl one. Oh, I do like the shade on this though, especially like I do enjoy going a shade up with my eye concealer, my under eye concealer, just for that brightening effect. So even though it is a little bit lighter than the CoverGirl one, I think I can make it work just fine. All right, so first coat, this has less coverage than the CoverGirl one. It did not dry down anywhere near as quickly as the CoverGirl one, so I do like that part about it. And the color of it, the undertone and the lightness of it actually did really, really well. So I'm actually pretty happy overall, but I am gonna go in just a little bit more right in the hollows of my eyes where I have a lot of that like super blue undertone. All right, I got an actual like decent amount of additional coverage doing that. I'm not gonna go in for a third time because I don't want it to start looking super cakey or anything, but I am gonna go ahead and do my chin. You guys know my stash area. I really despise it. Wow, what a look. Have you guys ever taken like a bubble bath and you use the suds and put them on your face as like facial hair? Yeah, me neither. And we'll do some up here and on my nosy as well. Okay, well, first of all, I can see that the foundation has oxidized only like maybe a half a shade, not even necessarily darker, just oranger, but that does tend to happen with a lot of base products on me. I do not know why. They do tend to be a bit more orange, but honestly, I don't think you can see it, really. I mean, you really need to be looking, or I'd really need this to be like super full coverage in order for you to actually even like really notice that as just like a normal person. The reason I was able to like notice it was oxidizing so much is because the concealer has not oxidized. It's actually pretty true to the shade in the bottle. And of course, this is like a very light concealer. One of the problems I'm seeing though is that this concealer is not setting on my textured areas well at all. And I do notice that a lot of times with especially more like matte type concealers, obviously matte's meant to dry down, and sometimes when it dries, it'll like start like clinging to different areas of your face. And I think that's what it's doing with my texture here. Though, again, once I powder, I think it'll kind of like maybe help even it out and blur it out a bit. So it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not like separated or anything. It's actually working pretty well with the foundation, which I'm genuinely happy to see, because a lot of times like a hydrating based product and a matte based product do not work together well. So I'm really happy to see that it is here, but let's move on. So before we set everything, I do have one more liquid face product. This is the Essence Baby Got Bronze Liquid Bronzer, and this is in the shade Sweet Shadow. Now, if you know from the other video, now I do normally use the Essence Baby Got Bronze stick bronzer, but because this is a stick, it doesn't blend uber well at all. And I also didn't really like the SheGlam one I tried, just because it was a little bit too blendable for my liking. So when I saw this, I'm like, we can have the best of both worlds here maybe. I don't really like these tips on face products or any really cosmetic products, because they do tend to harbor bacteria a lot more, because it's a fabric. Once it gets wet, it needs a longer time to dry. So I'm not really the biggest fan of this type of tip, but let's see. I need to like do some. Oh, actually that's really nice. So there's like a little ring around here that says off and on. Oh, okay. It's just like a little, it twists up, then I think it opens the channel for the product to come out. I do like that, because if this is harboring bacteria, you can at least close it. That way maybe you can like wash off the tip and keep the rest of the product in the container safe, so you don't really have to replace it that often. That's actually a very, very nice essence. It's very nice. Ooh, it came out a little bit here. Okay, all right, let's go in. I don't know how pigmented this is. It looks really dark. Oh, no. Maybe we'll be sculpted to the gods today. Let's just, let's play it on the safe side and just blend that out first. Oh, what the heck is happening? I think it's separating. I think it mostly absorbed into my beauty blender. No, it's definitely still there. It's just, it's such a liquidy product. Let me go in just a bit more, because I am gonna be filming some other stuff after this. And for like face on filming, I do like bringing my contour and blush and everything a little bit closer in. It just helps me to look a little bit less washed out on camera. I have such a big forehead and like a tall forehead. I do really love contouring the crap out of my forehead. And then I really need to like carve out my jawline, because I barely have a jawline. Chin strap. Oh, I just noticed. This is actually fragranced. It's like kind of like old lady floral fragrance. Not the greatest thing in the world. I don't know why we're adding fragrance to bronzer. That seems like a really weird choice. All right, thoughts. Let's go over all of these contours here. Now with the Stick Essence contour stick, I didn't like it because it wasn't super blendable, though I did like it for filming because it's really, really pigmented because it's such a thick product, but I wanted it more blendable. So then I tried the SheGlam one, which was actually a better tone than the Essence one because it's a little bit more fair skin friendly. I just didn't like that it was uber blendable. It almost blended out into nothing. So then we get to the Essence liquid bronzer here. This is actually the best of both worlds because one, it is a little bit more fair skin friendly, like a little bit more rosy gray tone than the stick one. But obviously since it's a liquid, it's blending out, but it's not blending out into nothing as much as the SheGlam one was. So I'm really happy about that. I also believe this one was cheaper than the SheGlam one as well. And you can actually get this one in stores. Like SheGlam is obviously only online, so that's annoying. So I actually think this is a winner. The only thing I will caution is that it is very fragrant. Like I can still smell it. It's not like the most overwhelming thing. I think it'll probably dissipate here pretty quickly, but this is actually the best of both worlds. So really happy. All right, so next up, we are gonna set everything. I have the SheGlam Baked Glow Setting Powder in light pink. This is actually a little bit smaller than the loose setting powder I normally use, which is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus one, which by the way, this is vegan and cruelty free as well. I was just curious to test out because this one does make my base products look a little bit more pink. Okay, it comes with a puff. That's real cute, nice. Let's see, can you guys see the actual lightness difference of these? This is actually a little bit more skin tone looking, and this one is a little bit more pink looking. Though they Jesus, I cannot say this. Oh my God, what's happening? I think I've had too much caffeine today, guys. guys. Though both of these seem to have that kind of like not shimmery, but almost like glowy finish to them, just the powders and the containers themselves. How the hell do I get this off? Is there like a tab I'm not seeing? Oh my, brands, accessibility, come on. Especially if I have my long nails on this, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this sticker off of here. Like, it's spraying everywhere. Okay, that was a little terrifying. It doesn't have a smell. I am happy to see that because I'm gonna be using a ton of this all over my face. So I'm gonna go ahead, drop a bunch in here. Yeah, this is looking really pink. So pray that this doesn't change a ton of my base. But before I do, go ahead and apply it just to check in with the foundation. I don't think it oxidized any more than it did a few minutes ago. So in summary, it oxidized just a twinge more orange than the product in the bottle, which honestly is pretty fine. I think you should assume the foundation isn't going to be the same in the bottle as it is on your face anyway. Like foundations and just concealers in general tend to oxidize. That's just what that type of product does. So to have it a half a shade different, I'm like totally fine with that. All right, now you guys know I love me a full beat down here. So let's just go ahead. I actually don't like this type of powder puff just because I like a one with a corner on it so I can get a little bit more under my eyes a little bit easier. Okay guys, I powdered down this half of my face. So just so you can see, I guess like the difference, especially in the color of the foundation and concealer once it's set down, because sometimes the reflect of light can make base products look a little bit lighter than they actually are. But I'm pleasantly surprised to see that it didn't, I don't think at least, change the color of the base products. I do think this did pinken, like add more pink to the overall look than my Wet n Wild one does, unfortunately. Which I guess makes sense because the product looked more pink to begin with, like duh, why wouldn't it? I can tell that the She Glam one is actually more finely milled than the Wet n Wild one because it absorbed so much more quickly. And especially loose powders only really tend to do that if they're more finely milled than a different type of powder because there's more like surface area with smaller little particles, so it soaks up a lot more and a lot quicker, which honestly doesn't really matter. It just, I was essentially able to put more powder on my face than I normally do, which you guys know I love me some matte bases, so I don't really mind because that's just gonna increase the longevity of the matteness of my base. But again, I was hoping with the She Glam powder, it would have a little bit different effect on the tone of my base. I wasn't really concerned with it being more matte than the Wet n Wild one or anything, so I will definitely be able to use this one. I just won't really repurchase it, especially because I think it was a little bit more expensive than the Wet n Wild one, especially considering the Wet n Wild one, you get a ton more product in. So it's okay, and if you're on She Glam, you need a loose setting powder, I think you're good to go as long as you know that this one, which is a pink one in general, is going to turn your foundation and your base just like maybe like a half a shade more in the pink direction than essentially like a white loose one. All right, up next, we are gonna try the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in Sunset Striptease. Ooh, love that. Don't love when they use stickers to, oh my gosh. You know what you hate when like you try to peel off a sticker and it just rips into a million friggin' pieces? Like I don't have better things to do all day. Again, if I had my long nails on, forget it. This, I'm just going without bronzer apparently that day. I have talked about before, I do have neuropathy in my hands and sometimes my hands just like ain't in it to win it for that day. So also not great for accessibility, but let's see here. This is supposed to be like a more luminous type bronzer, not a super matte bronzer, and I actually want it to replace this. This is one of my holy grail products and I'm so upset that this is not vegan. It's just like, luckily I have some backups anyway that I want to work through because I already bought it, like why would I just throw it out? But this is the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula, which is just such an amazing sheeny looking bronzer, and they also have I think 5 or 6 different colors of this same bronzer, and they even have like highlighters in this whole thing. It's just like, it's such an amazing product. It just is not vegan, unfortunately. So I've been on the lookout for a new, more like kind of luminous type bronzer, but the the shade of it, the Physicians Formula one here, is a little bit more cool tone than the Wet n Wild one, which I think there was only maybe one other shade of the Wet n Wild one. But sometimes like the color in the pan isn't the color that's on your face. So we will go ahead and slap this one on here. Unfortunately, this does not smell like anything. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer smells kind of like that coconutty, almost like sunscreeny type smell. And it's actually very, very appealing. Even though I generally don't like fragrances and cosmetics, that one actually is pretty friggin' great. This is fairly pigmented. The Physicians Formula one, I would say, is a good medium pigmentation. It's actually decently pigmented and it's super buildable. So, which I prefer buildability in bronzers because I don't mind taking the time to build them up as opposed to having to accidentally put like an entire streak of product on my face. And then we are gonna put so much bronzer on this forehead. You're gonna think I turned brunette. And let's go in and do it on our jawline here too to get super snatched. I'm actually gonna put a little bit near where my foundation here stops just to kind of like try and help blend out that shade difference. Also, who doesn't want to look more bronze these days? Summer, she is a-coming. All right, I have some big thoughts on this. First of all, this is more of a orange tone bronzer. Definitely not cool tone enough for what I really like to do. For filming, it'll be fine because again, like lights wash everything out, so it doesn't really matter. As far as the luminousness of this goes, this has way more of a reflect than the butter bronzer. In fact, it almost has like a gold reflect in it, which is really weird because I can't see that in the pan here. And it is way, way too much for me. This is not what I want. I actually might go over it with a little bit of a foundation powder just to help get rid of the shine of it because it's really shiny. It's almost like this would be the bronzer equivalent of like a blush topper. This is a bronzer topper. It is that shiny and like highlighty. If it was more of a brown tone sheen, it would be a little bit different. And I think I'd classify that more as like an actual luminous bronzer. But since this is such a gold sheen, that is not what I want. I like rosiness in my sheen highlighter cosmetics in general. That's not what I want. And I really wasn't expecting to get it in this. Again, does this look at all like it reflects gold? I don't really like this. But I would recommend this if you are someone who maybe wants to do like kind of a no makeup day, especially for like a beach day where you want to look more bronzy in general. I think this would be a amazing body bronzer. It's not, again, like a highlighter, right? That's not what it is. It's giving you like actual bronze, brown, tan, reddish pigment in general with like a little bit of a gold reflect, which I think is what most people want when they go to like the beach or in the summer in general. It is amazing, especially if you're like an oily girl and you don't want to use like those under base highlighters or whatever they're calling them, or even like a body oil because you already got enough oil on your own. You don't need to be added to that situation, you know what I mean? So a pretty great luminous body bronzer, I will say, but for a face bronzer for me, just not my vibe. And guys, I'm just gonna go in with some blush here. I don't have a blush to test today, and honestly, I'm not really a blush girl, so I'm not looking for a new blush because I don't use enough of it. But this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush. If you are someone who notices that that blush doesn't really stick around on your skin that much, this one does. It just is a Tarte product, so it's a little bit expensive. But I did buy this forever ago, and granted, I don't use a lot of blush. This has lasted me years. I can't even recall when I bought it. It has just been forever, and it is vegan and cruelty free. It's just not really affordable. All right, guys, I'm gonna go in and set everything down, and I'm going in with one of two setting sprays I use. I use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Rose setting spray, which is vegan and cruelty free and affordable already. I use this one more to like melt products, powder products into one another and into my skin as opposed to like setting everything down. So I'm just gonna go in with this. All right, actually, after I fully sprayed everything down and used my sponge to pat everything down, the goldiness sheen of the bronzer did go away a little bit. So I will say that maybe the shiny pigment in it breaks down pretty easily with like wetness. I'm a little bit happier now that that did that. I'm gonna go ahead with my regular old highlighter here. This is the Milani Strobe Light Instant Glow Powder. This is in the shade Afterglow, which is like a very pinky highlighter, but this is one of my hero products. It is vegan and cruelty free, and it's like decently affordable. Like Milani is drugstore, but it's not the most inexpensive drugstore brand by no means. But this just like melts into your skin. It can very easily be both a glow from within type of highlight, but also it is very buildable, so you can get it up to like kind of like a streak if you really wanted it that way. But I'm just gonna go in with a little bit here on my cheeks and my temples and on the very tippy tip of my nose. All right, powder's done. Let's move on to eye stuff. An update from the last video, I have been using the SheGlam Micro Brow Pencil, and I think this was dark brown, not ash brown, dark brown. And I have been using it on my weekdays, which like I said in the other video, I only really put brows on during the weekdays, during my work week. I don't do like a full face of glam, like not for every day. I ain't wasting that amount of time. Which I was looking to replace my CoverGirl micro pencil, because this is not vegan, unfortunately. It is cruelty free, because all CoverGirl is. And my problem with the SheGlam one is it's a little bit more waxy of a formula and a little bit more slick than the CoverGirl one, which means when I just have my skincare on and like no base anywhere near my brows, this goes on way too well and it makes it way too dark. So I don't really like this for a no makeup day, but I have been loving this for when I do put full glam on, because sometimes the CoverGirl one, because it's such a dry formula, it has like a hard time transferring on top of like all the foundation and powders and everything that's underneath of it. So this one works incredibly well. So I will be repurchasing the SheGlam one if you're curious. But today I am going to try another brow product, because again, I want just one that's a little bit more dry than the SheGlam one. This is the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Micro Pencil in Deep Brown, which they do have a ash brown, but I could swear I have tried that one before, and I think I had the exact same problem as I did with the SheGlam one, where it was just way too red on me, so I didn't even bother picking up the ash brown one. But let's see how deep this here deep brown one is. Okay, I'm gonna do a line of my CoverGirl, a line of the SheGlam, and then this Wet n Wild one, which this Wet n Wild one has a spoolie on one end as well, which I love. I need a spoolie to do my brows. Guys, this is good. This is good news. Okay, is this focusing? I can't tell. As for the tone, this is the CoverGirl one. This is the SheGlam one, which is just like a twinge more red than the CoverGirl one. And then on the outside here is the Wet n Wild one. The Wet n Wild one is an exact color match to the CoverGirl one. Already starting off strong. And I also think it might be a little bit more dry than the SheGlam one. Oh guys, let's just pray here for a moment. We may have a winner. Also guys, I'm not a YouTuber. Like I don't really have the greatest or steadiest of hands, especially when doing brows. Also my eyes point in different directions, so getting brows even isn't really the goal anyway, because that's just fully unachievable. And I also do shave and pluck off the outer portion of my brow, because my brow actually grows like here, which is just like sad. I don't want sad brows. That's not the vibe I'm going for. I actually like a little bit more of like straight brows. All right, guys, the shade match going here is actually incredible. I am so happy for that. It is a much drier formula than the SheGlam one, and I venture to say even a drier formula than the CoverGirl one. And I am having like the same problem I have with the CoverGirl one, that when I have my base on, sometimes it'll like chunk up as opposed to like drawing a line, like an entire like essentially rolling ball of crayon. It's like a snowman. It'll just start like gathering and gathering and gathering as I like go further on my brow, and then there's like a huge chunk at the end. So I'm gonna say that this is exactly the same. What's the color of the CoverGirl one? So the CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil in the color Soft Brown is the exact same product as the Wet n Wild Micro Brow Pencil in Deep Brown. Like these two are exactly the same. So the Wet n Wild one going forward is gonna be, I think, the one I will use during the week. Again, I'll have to test it when I don't have anything on, but it's performed exactly the same as the CoverGirl one does on like a full base. So I'm assuming it's gonna actually perform the exact same as well with now any other makeup on. But I think I'm gonna be a little bit high maintenance here. And I think I'm gonna start having two different brow pencils, like one for doing a full beat and then one for doing essentially no makeup. So I think think I'm just gonna go move forward with that. The She Glam one and the Wet n Wild one are such affordable products that I don't really think it's gonna matter. In fact, I think the She Glam one plus the cost of the Wet n Wild one is still not the cost of one singular CoverGirl brow pencil. So I think I'm still winning out in that equation. So I'm really happy with the Wet n Wild one. And if you're curious, deep brown is a very, very ash tone brown. So I'm happy. I'm just gonna go ahead, use my like weird mishmash of palette and slap on some more kind of neutral tone business eye look, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, eyeshadow applied. Now, I have a weird, kind of a weirder product here to try. This is a single shadow. This is from, I believe this is pronounced Kaylee Cosmetics. I don't entirely know, K-A-E-L-Y. I think that's Kaylee. I think it's like more of an independent brand. It is off of Amazon. I did buy this one off of Amazon. And this is supposed to be, supposedly, a very, very, very true black eyeshadow, because I do have my weird palette of eyeshadows that essentially has lasted me forever. But I have been through so many palettes, single shadows throughout the years, trying to find a true black shadow. The best one I've been able to find is, it was from the Clay Play palette, which is discontinued. It was discontinued a long time ago. And I don't remember, I think the name of the shadow was Onyx. And I do believe Tarte still has that shadow elsewhere, like in its other products or palettes. It's kind of like a standard black shade for them, but it was still very much like like it blended out so easily into a charcoal shade. That's not what I want. I want a true black, like a matte black eyeshadow. I decided to go ahead and try to find a vegan, cruelty-free, affordable, singular black eyeshadow. And this is in the shade Blackout, which they describe as a deep black matte eyeshadow. So I'm gonna put this to the test because I'm gonna do a little bit more of like a smoky type wing today. But let's go ahead and see. Actually, let me take, I have like this super, super tiny little blending brush. I'm gonna go ahead and see. Ooh, actually, okay. At first, it kind of looked a little bit charcoal, but I think it's building. Like that's it. That's pretty good. Like I do have to keep in mind, this is a powder product. It is meant to blend to some degree, so it's not meant to be the color in here. If I want that, I need to use like a wet product of some kind. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this under my eye because again, I want to do like a smoky wing situation. Okay, yeah, this is actually building up very, very nicely. Pretty good, I have to say. Let me go ahead and go along my upper lash line here. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and do one of my mega wings as always. If you guys are curious, I do use two liquid black liners here. I use more of like a brush tip, hot style liquid liner, and then like a felt tip. The brush tip is just like their regular e.l.f. black whatever one, like it's a few bucks, real cheap. And then the felt tip one is actually a Amazon brand, which is called Maria, I still can't figure out how to say this name. Maria Aurora. It's like a super cheap, again, it's vegan, cruelty-free, affordable, but it is a felt tip eyeliner where the felt tip hasn't dried out yet on me. And that's one of my biggest gripes with felt tips is like, once I get it, I'll use it once and then it seems to be done. It seems to be like fully dried up, but this one doesn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my mega wing and then we'll be back to put on a little bit more eyeshadow. Okay guys, we are back. So I am going to take, again, this here black eyeshadow. And one, if you can see here, like I have my line of my liner stopping kind of like halfway through my eye because I don't really like filling in the inner corner. It just kind of like closes off my eyes a little bit too much, but I don't like the super harsh stop of that like liquid product there. So I'm gonna take the eyeshadow and go ahead and like try to blend out the inner line there a little bit. And then I'm gonna go back up under my eyeliner to try to smoke this out a little bit and help like connect it with the darkness of like the liquid product. All right guys, this is the best black eyeshadow I have ever used. Like a very, very matte, deep black. It built so well, especially like up under my eyeline. I don't have any liquid product under there. It is just the eyeshadow. eyeshadow, and it actually blends in really well with the liquid pen liner here to where it looks like it's almost like the same product, but it's obviously not. And I absolutely love that. That is exactly what I wanted. This here for a few dollars, if you are someone who has been struggling on the struggle bus trying to find a matte, super black, actual black eyeshadow, this one is well worth it. Again, it's on Amazon, a few bucks. Like, how can you go wrong? I am so beyond happy with this one. And I think it's like an independent or at least smaller brand, so that's also pretty great. All right, guys, up next we have just a crayon style of black eyeliner, kind of like a really typical black, more gel-like eyeliner. This is the e.l.f. No Budge Retractable Eyeliner, and it does specifically say it is water resistant. And this is in the color black, though I think they might have a brown or something, but not like a ton of shades in this one at all. I am using it to replace my favorite one, which is the Milani Stay Put Waterproof Eyeliner in Linked Own Black. This, first of all, is so old that they have changed the packaging of this. It doesn't look like this anymore, but as far as I've heard, the formula is still the same, but the formula is not vegan, unfortunately. The Milani one is a crayon type wood one. You have to like sharpen it with a pencil sharpener. Hate that, don't love that. This is an actual retractable one, so already I am way more pumped for this one. The only things I'm looking for are really that it is actual black. Again, I don't want charcoal. I want it to be actual black. I don't want it to chunk up at all. I want it to be like somewhat relatively smooth going on. And then secondarily, I don't want it to transfer because I pretty much only tightline with this style of eyeliner. So I'm really looking to see the water resistance of this, if it is actually water resistant. But I'm gonna go ahead and tightline. I guess I'm also looking to make sure that this doesn't make my eyes water, since it is like basically in my eye. All right, well, it's not making my eyes burn, so that's great. It's not like transferring into my eye either. I don't know if you guys have ever like, especially if you're using a brush tip liquid liner and you like go and dot it into your eye and all of a sudden it looks like it's exploding in your eye, especially if you're like a contact lens wearer. Oh my God, it is like an entire pack of Q-tips to like, you have to dig out black from your eye. Just like, it is so annoying. So I'm hoping that this one will actually stay on my waterline and nowhere else. All right, guys, that went on very well. It did not transfer into my eye at all, even though I did put it on the top and bottom waterline, and it did come off pretty smoothly. It didn't chunk up or do any weird stuff like that. And it is incredibly black. So I'm super happy about this eyeliner. Black crayon water resistant eyeliners are a pretty common and typical product throughout any brand, but it's nice to know that e.l.f., especially being 1, vegan, 2, cruelty free, and 3, incredibly affordable. This eyeliner was just a few dollars and that's it. So I can't really ask for much more for this, so pretty happy as well. Last eye product, guys, I have here some mascara, and I have been on the hunt for a while for a new mascara. I've been using like a bunch of different ones. I've tested a bunch of Wet n Wild ones. I have this e.l.f. one that I keep getting this like free gift with purchase when I order off elf.com. And this is the Big Mood mascara in, what is this? Black Noir. This is okay. I don't like the brush tip on this one. This is kind of like a dupe of the Better Than Sex, kind of that weird swoopy cylinder type style one. I also do not like the formula of this. Really volumizes very well. It kind of like helps your lashes to like somewhat clump together but not look spidery. My problem with this is that it flakes so incredibly easily. I do normally, when I wear mascara, put false lashes on top of it, just like little accents on the outer corner. And so I'll put mascara on, I'll let it dry down, and then I'll go in and have to kind of like mess with it a little, and I'll notice there will just be a ton of crumblies up underneath here, like total blueberry crumble underneath my eye. And it is just a pain in the butt in order to actually remove, because especially it's such a black product, you don't really want to disturb it. It's just like a scary situation. We have all been there where we spend an hour on our makeup, we get to the eyes, and like one friggin' black product ruins everything. It just like ruins the whole vibe. That's not what I'm going on putting on makeup. So I picked up the Essence I Heart Extreme Volume Mascara. This is not a waterproof mascara. I don't like waterproof mascaras. They're just way too hard to remove, so I just don't even bother. This one I believe does come in waterproof as well, if you're curious. And my favorite mascara of all time is the Essence Lash Princess something or other, because they have like a whole bunch in their Lash Princess line, but it's like the green one. It's like one of their hallmark holy grail products of all of Essence. It just is not vegan, unfortunately. The pink one is, but the pink one has, I think, like a smile kind of half moon style wand, which I don't like. This wand here is super big. I do prefer more of like that natural bristle style wand. I don't like the silicone-y ones. They deposit way too much product. I'll be honest, this is not my favorite wand type in general. I like one that's far more tapered, so it's easier to kind of like get in there and get my like baby lashes again. But I am willing to work with this one because I do like the bristles of the wand, but also I've heard this is a very black mascara. And the other thing I'm looking for is to actual cover my natural lashes, because my natural lashes are fairly kind of like a light brown, and it's very noticeable if I'm not able to cover them in like a deep black when I go to put on a very deep black false lash. Ooh, this is grabbing on to lashes very well. Oh my gosh, I did it! Don't touch it. Don't touch it. It's just a little bit. Don't touch it. Let it dry and then flick it off with a Q-tip later. This formula does feel quite wet, I will say. All right, one coat on. First impressions. It's very black. It is very wet. Like, I can't open my eyes fully because I don't want it to like transfer on my lash line. I want it to like calm down here a bit, but it did grab lashes very well. And it also deposited quite a bit of product whilst it was doing it. Even though it's one coat, it looks like almost two coats of a different type of brand. It didn't really give the most amount of volume because it is such a liquid product. It's not like clumping together at all, which you kind of need in a volume-based mascara. So it more just like really coated and really separated the lashes, but I'm gonna let this dry and then we'll go in with a second coat. All right guys, coat 2. And I don't really like doing more than 2 coats because it gets a little bit too chunky monkey up in there. So hopefully this will get me a little bit more volume. Even though obviously I have so much friggin' eyeliner on that it's hard to like tell, I realize. Okay, second coat, it did build a little bit, not the most. I think them calling this a volume mascara is fair because it's buildable, because it gets sticky enough when it dries down that you can then go ahead and put on another coat, and probably honestly for a third coat you could get even more darkness and volume in there. It does do a really great job of separating the lashes and then coating each lash, and of course it is a little bit wet. Honestly, I'd rather have a mascara that's too wet than too dry on first application, because we all know mascaras tend to get dried out as time goes on, obviously. So this will become on its own a thicker, kind of stickier, drier formula. So I'm kind of like more willing to do that. That way I don't have to throw this out as soon, you know what I mean? So for now, 2 coats, I will say it's a decently volumizing mascara, especially for the price of this. And since mascaras are one of those makeup products that do dry out so quickly, you need to replace them pretty much more than most other cosmetics. So having one that's such an affordable price, and again, vegan and cruelty free, we love that. It's really black, it's really easy again to get. They sell Essence and Ulta, a few bucks, you're good to go. Love it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply some accents on my outer lash, and then we'll be back because I'm hoping that again the mascara doesn't flake and chunk and do weird stuff on its own, but I'll see here. All right guys, lashes applied. I do think there is just a minute, and I mean a incredibly tiny amount of fallout. So I'll say that's a major win on the mascara. It did not crumble really at all after I really worked with it and like kind of smushed it together with my false lashes. So I'd say that's a win as well. All right, before we get to lips, I'm gonna go ahead and finally set my base, which I do use the Milani Make It Last setting spray. This is vegan and cruelty free. It's not the most affordable product, but again, it's like drugstore. It's like decently affordable, I guess. All right guys, up next we are gonna do lips. I have a few lip products. Now, as you can see, I have zombie lips going on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and lizard tongue this towel and just take it off and I spit. For our lip liners, I have 3 to try here. And the reason I have so many is because I, for the life of me, cannot find a good color, like a natural color of lip liner. The one I currently use is the Milani Wood Pencil One Color Statement Lip Liner. liner in Nude. This is pretty close to my shade and the closest I've been able to find thus far, going through many different brands, many different lip liners. This one's just a twinge too dark and a twinge too brown. I have very pigmented and very pink lips, so I have been on the lookout for some new ones. I have here a SheGlam Bold Booster Plumping Lip Liner in the color Pink Slip, and then I have two Essence ones. I have the soft and precise lip pencil in My Mind, and then the Essence 8-Hour Matte Lip Liner in the color Soft Beige. Hopefully between these three, I can get one that's like decently the same kind of color, just a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch my Milani one, and then I'm just gonna go through these and swatch them, and hopefully one just works out. Like, please. Ooh, I'm not really like a packaging person. I generally don't really care about the aesthetics of packaging at all. I just want the product to be good and the packaging to be functional and like decently low cost. But look at how friggin' pretty this pencil is. It's like a pink into cream. That is beautiful. I will say the writing on here is in pure white, so it's basically illegible. You can barely read anything on here. You guys know I complained about that last time with the beige and gold lettering and all that. So apparently SheGlam doesn't really care if you can read anything on their packaging or not. That's annoying. I do like that this one's a retractable one as well. I don't want to sharpen a crayon if I don't have to. This is such a soft, delicate formula. I would break this 100%. It is way too slick and creamy and fragile of like a crayon. I don't know about all that. Okay, let's go in with the Essence. This, what is this? The Soft Precise Lip Pencil. This is a wooden pencil as well. Ooh, it's like pretty dry. Oh, it is a little bit more pink. I think maybe a little bit too pink. And let's go in with the other Essence one here. Oh, that's not it. I don't think we've won here today, guys. Here's the Milani one. Okay, like again, it's a little bit dark, a little bit brown, not like the greatest thing in the world. Here is the plumping one from SheGlam. It's a little bit too peachy brown. Definitely not it. Not pink. I need pink. This one is the wooden pencil Essence one. I might be able to make this work. It looks maybe just a hinge too pink. And then here's the Essence 8-Hour Matte one. That again, that's like peach. That's not even brown nude. That's just like fully peach. So these two, I'm not even gonna try. They're just a major fail. They are not the color I need them to be. So also again, for the SheGlam one here, this is such a slick lip liner. I bet this does not stay on lips well at all. So I wouldn't really want to use it just for formula alone, but the color isn't great either. This one is actually a very nice formula. It's creamy enough to where you'd be able to put it on your lips easily without it like chunking up and doing weird stuff, but it isn't like super slick to where I don't think it would really migrate as much. So if you're someone who's looking for a lip liner, especially in more of, again, like the peachy beige type category, the 8-Hour Essence Matte Lip Liner in Soft Beige, I think is gonna be pretty good for you, but not for me. Let's go ahead and try this other Essence one here and hope that it has some redeeming quality to it. Oh God, it is so dry. Oftentimes, these wooden lip liners are way more dry than their retractable counterparts. Guys, like anything coming off? Guys, I think this is definitely way better than the Milani one. As far as color goes, the Milani one is also, being that it's a wood pencil, it is also a drier formula. It's not as dry as the Essence one, but once I like kind of got the Essence one going, and I think it like warmed up with my body heat and everything, it got a little bit more creamy. But I do prefer matte color lip products in general because I don't want them to slip and slide. Your mouth is moving, you're eating, you're talking all day, a lot of like movement in that area. So I want it to be more matte than anything with color lip products. So I actually really like this. I think it's maybe like a twinge more pink than my actual lips, but it is way closer in color to my lips than the Milani one. Like hands down, love it. Oh my gosh, I am so excited because the Milani one is also just a few bucks, but the Essence one is also cheaper. So I mean, where am I losing in that category? This again is a win. Like most of the products here are a win today. I'm so surprised. Last product, guys. I have a lip tint here because I really don't like wearing lipsticks, if you guys know. I prefer just using lip liner. I have such thin lips. Like I don't need a full bullet lipstick or like a matte mousse lip type situation. I just don't need that. I do like lip tints though, because if I can apply one product and it lasts for hours on end, I am so here for that, living that life. This is the She Glam For the Flush Lip and Cheek Tint for the flush. What? Oh, like flush. Why was my mind going to like toilet stuff, like flushing a toilet? Obviously they would not do that, duh. Yeah, so this is a little lip tint. Look at how adorable it is. Oh my god, it is so cute, but it is very liquidy in there. Can you see that? That's a lot. I wasn't expecting it to be that liquidy, because if this is a staining product and it's a liquid product, this is about to get everywhere and stain everything all over my face. Like I said, that is the opposite of what I want with my lip products, so we'll see. This is in the color It's Chili. I think these are flavored because there's 3 colors and flavors of this product, so I'm assuming that it tastes like strawberry. Let me see how it smells. It smells like nothing. Let's go ahead and put it on. Oh, it is so liquidy. Oh, it tastes like garbage. It tastes like chemicals, like bitter chemical flavor. Ugh. But if you guys saw in my last makeup video, I tried a She Glam lip cream tint or whatever it was called, and I didn't like it because it was so thick and creamy. You could tell the tint product, the tint chemicals in that couldn't really tint my lips because there was such like a barrier of like the thick creams and whatever else they put in that to make it a lip cream that it didn't really act that much like a tint, which I hated. So I actually don't really mind the liquidiness of this because it's already dried down. What was that? 5 seconds max. It was a little bit hectic and nerve-wracking to try to apply because it's so it like the little doe foot here absorbs the liquid, and once you press it down it like explodes onto your lips. So I go ahead with a second coat. This is also a little bit more red than I wanted, but again there were only 3 shades of it. I got like a little bit of a oh my god, I think this is in my mouth. It's staining my teeth. This better not stain my teeth. No. Okay, I think we're good. I don't think it's staining the teeth. Okay, it is fully dried down. There's no stickiness, no nothing. It feels like there's maybe like the tiniest bit of film on my lips, but it's not sticky, it's not glossy, it's not slick. It's pure like pat down dry. And it doesn't feel like tightening dry either, so that's pretty nice. This is definitely a little bit too dark and a little bit too red for like the natural flush of lips I was going for. But since it is a lip tint, I'll give it a little bit benefit of the doubt that maybe after, you know, drinking and talking and doing all this stuff for a little, like 30 minutes, I assume it's probably gonna wear out pretty quickly. Like it's a tint, it's not meant to stay on your lips forever. Let me actually go in and fill in a little bit with that Essence lip liner again to try to like help even out to like more of a pink tone and not a red tone. And then I'm gonna just put a clear gloss on top of it. Okay, I think we got somewhere in there that I like. First of all, went in with 2 coats of this. That was a mistake. That was my bad. That's not this product's issue. That's my issue of being just like having the too much gene, as Miss Marbles would say. But I think if it was a 1 coat, it would equal out to a good enough approximation of the color of my natural lips. So I actually think I really do like this product because it feels like it's gonna have a lot of longevity, because like I said, it dried down like almost instantaneously. Like it was that quick. So I am actually gonna give this one a win. I do wish it was like a little bit more pink, and they do have a pink one of this, but it was again like a fluorescent style pink. Again, look at how cute and adorable it is. I really love it. Like I said, I don't really care about aesthetics of packaging, but if it's gonna be vegan, cruelty-free, affordable, and cute on top of that, I mean, where are we losing in that? All right, guys, let's do a fast and dirty rundown of the products today. Foundation, love the color of it. It did oxidize, but nothing I can't work with. That's great. Though I don't really like that it's not a super full coverage product. So if you're looking for a hydrating light to medium coverage foundation, this is great. Love it. Concealer, love even more. It is definitely a medium out the bat, not a high coverage, though you can get it there pretty easily. And then I really love the bronzer here. It was definitely deep enough to actually have a contour on my face after blending it out, though it did blend really well. And for a fair skinned person, it did blend out enough to be not red, but also not like mud on my face, so love that. The loose powder is a product I will not buy again in the future. It just made my foundation a little bit more pink than what I was looking for. But if you want a slightly luminous and more pink tone loose setting powder, this one is still pretty good and it's very matte as well. The bronzer, guys, this is my biggest disappointment because like I said, I love my Physicians Formula bronzer, but I just need to swap it out here. This is just definitely way too red toned of a bronzer for my liking. It is definitely a great body bronzer. I will use it up for sure. I just won't repurchase it. I think the eyeshadow here is the biggest win of this video. Like I said, I've spent years trying to find a true black eyeshadow, and this one is the closest I have ever got. It is definitely buildable enough to get to like a true black enough to actually blend in well with my liquid black eyeliner, which is absolutely incredible. So love this. The biggest win of this video for sure. The eyeliner is great. It still hasn't transferred anywhere. It's very black and it's from e.l.f., which is definitely one of the most affordable brands. So this is still a win. The mascara. I'm torn on the mascara because I do like the blackness of it. I also like that it really grabbed onto every single lash. I just am not the greatest fan of the brush itself, but overall I will use it up. It's a really black mascara and it applies decently well and doesn't flake. Lip liner, love, love, love this lip liner. It is a bit on the drier side. I wish it was retractable, but you know, you can't win them all. And for like how affordable this is, I mean, again, like, can I really ask for much more? Not really. And then I love the lip tint as well, and it is a cheek tint as well. So if you guys want that, you know, more natural makeup type look, I do think it would offer some color. You just have to like work with it really quickly because it does dry down a lot, but that's great for the lip area. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this vegan, cruelty-free, affordable makeup journey. I really appreciate it. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. As I said, not every product really worked out for me today, so I will have to do this again in the future. So please leave your recommendations down below for your vegan, cruelty-free, affordable, and a bonus if it's from a small independent company as well. Love that. Leave them down below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye.